Hello, Miss Linda. I am Katelyn. I am a CUNY student from Baruch, and I'm also part of the CUNY peer leaders. I'll be conducting interview for a podcast that we are working on with Ms. Rosalia. So, just to give a little breakdown of the interview, first we're going to do a little introduction segment using what, where, when, why, and how, and then we're going to do three subcategories: one, content; two, publishing challenges, and then finally, we're going to end up and wrap up with memories.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you very much for joining this interview. Miss Linda, so what do you do for the magazine?
I'm a co-editor of the magazine, and so as a co-editor, I help selecting the pieces that are going to be published. I also invite writers. I have to, in the end, read the whole magazine before it comes out. I also write articles and send my own poetry to be evaluated because nobody is published just because we're editors. We have to present material that is unpublished and at the same time that is something that they want for that number. So I do interviews, chronicles, essays. I sometimes also, well, many times, most of the times, I should say, invite many people to join us. Of course, not everybody, as I said, is going to be published directly. It has to be evaluated by all the editors. The work has to be evaluated, and then it is decided among all of us if it's going to go in the number.
Okay. That sounds amazing. All right. So where were you born?
I was born in Peru, but I always say I'm international because I grew up in different countries. One of them is Buenos Aires, Argentina. Buenos Aires is a city I love a lot. But well, I am Peruvian.
When did you move to New York City?
Ooh, very long time ago. Over 20 years ago.
Wow.
Way over.
What made you want to come to New York City?
To tell the truth, I didn't want to move to New York City. But my family, part of my family was here, so they invited us to come. And then college was a temptation to try it here, and I had knowledge of the language, I mean English, and that helped. So, you enter college and then you make friends and then you get interested in different topics, and that's it.
Oh, that sounds nice. So what area of New York City do you live in? Like which borough?
Manhattan.
Ooh, thank you for sharing with me. Looping back to the magazine. So when did you start the magazine?
Well, the magazine is going to be 25 years this coming issue. 25 years of the magazine in New York City, a magazine that is devoted to culture and literature, basically, and art. So that means a lot, that says a lot about the team, about the quality of the magazine. 25 years.
Congratulations. I'd like to say that is a huge milestone.
Thanks so much.
So why did you start/join the magazine?
Well, I'm not one of the founders, okay? But I know that the founders are all college professors and they met at CUNY. I think they met at the Graduate Center.
Ooh.
And they decided that they wanted to have a magazine where, as I said, literature, culture, arts were shared, within the Hispanic community, even though they also invite people from different backgrounds, and they can also have materials in different languages without translation. So it's an open magazine to anybody who wants to participate. But basically, the articles and most of the content is in Spanish. So they started it like a friends. They were in love with literature, basically. That's their main background. And they wanted to have this baby. They started it because of that, because they love literature, they love the Hispanic culture, and they love the idea that they could have a way to preserve it and share it. They have been successful doing that, but what I try to remark here is that they've done it like with their hearts. Nobody here was thinking, oh, let's make a magazine to make money, for example. Yeah. That was not the idea.
can hear your passion about the magazine and like the way you're so like impressed with how much heart and effort goes into this magazine and how it's made from love, not for monetary value, which is very important in literature. Let's move on to our first part, content. So what kind of content do you publish in the magazine?
Well, we publish, I should tell you what the magazine cover says: poetry, fiction, essays, reviews, photography, and painting.
Wow.
Yeah, and this anecdotes, the chronicles, some it has to have a literary quality, obviously, right?
Yes.
But all of these genres go in there.
Wow, that is a lot of content. So how many submissions do you get per magazine?
Well, that's very hard to tell because it varies. But what happens is, of course, the more the magazine is known, the more submissions we get. So it's hard to tell you a number, but
Right.
we do get a lot of material.
That's amazing. So what are some of the criteria do you use to select a proposal or a certain work of art or literature?
Well, first of all, it has to be unpublished.
Unpublished.
Yes, so that is also something interesting for the reader, I think, because they know that what they're reading in the magazine is not anywhere else. So it is unpublished material. Sometimes we've been very gladly surprised that people who are highly recognized have given us unpublished work.
Wow.
It doesn't mean that it hasn't been published afterwards, but it has been given originally unpublished to us. Mhm. Then the criteria, of course, it has to have a certain quality and has to be obviously well written, well documented, original. Of course, you would say it all depends on criteria, but I mean, it's criteria, it's not taste, right? So
Yes.
sometimes you may like one thing or not, but if it is well written, even if you don't like it, you have to accept it is good. And if it's good, it deserves to be published because my taste doesn't reflect everybody's taste in the community or in the society. What I can say is that we try for it to have good level of quality. And I think that has been shown over the years,
Yes, definitely. It's amazing that this magazine, it's an unbiased where it's just a collection of work. That's pretty amazing. So
Thank you. Yeah, it is unbiased. Very good way of describing it.
yes. Do you publish well-known authors or do you publish up-and-coming authors or both?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. What matters is the quality of the work.
Okay. So where do the authors you publish tend to live, or do you only publish New York City authors or worldwide?
No, worldwide. As far as people know, there is Hybrido and they can manage to send us their work. We are going to accept it. We're going to look into it and we're going to review it, obviously, before publishing.
Perfect. Around what age range do you end up publishing? What are the authors and artists' age ranges?
That's a good question, but it's hard to answer because we don't have any prohibitions, As far as, I mean, it cannot be a minor because then we would need consent. But otherwise, it doesn't make a difference to us at all. As I said one more time, it has to do with quality. We try not to keep anybody out. We try to do exactly the opposite. We try to have as many voices as possible, a variety of voices. And that means we don't care about the age, we don't care if they're beginners, we don't care if they are well-known authors already. We still have to select them, and we will not consider that when we decide who we select.
Very well put. Final question for content. How do you get your magazine out there? How do you advertise? How do you market your magazine?
Well, this has also been something very personal. We have been doing this in readings, different libraries, universities, at meetings, literary meetings, gatherings, presentations that, of course, we do for the first time when the magazine of that year comes out. for example, at places like La Nacional, which is in New York, right, on 14th Street. That's the Spanish Benevolent Society. And that has been like the personal way to do it. You know that the pandemic unfortunately cut a lot of those possibilities. One way in which we're going to have it, I guess, perhaps more than ever, because we were not used to that, is to try to have it online. This would change a little bit the way we've been doing it. But basically, they also have the magazine at local bookstores, for example.
Ah,
Yeah, it's a big magazine, it's a heavy magazine. So sending it abroad, it's not easy. With for some authors, they have requested them, but in order to have it to sell it or to show it, or it's been very hard. We do it basically in New York.
I see. So it's based in New York. So the magazine is sold purely in New York?
Mainly in New York.
Okay. For your magazine, it showed in local bookstores and at conferences, at universities and libraries as well.
Local book fairs, yes, we've been present for years. Book fair in Queens.
That's really cool. Like the sense of community that revolves around and within the magazine is amazing.
Exactly, we enjoy a lot doing that.
Thank you. We're going to move on to publishing challenges. So our first question is, how did you go about publishing the magazines?
You mean in terms of monetary support or something like that?
It's just about like what steps did you go to a publisher? Was it self-published? Where did it begin? Like how? Yes.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, as I said, I'm not one of the founders, but I think I have a pretty good idea. You can say it's self-published, but with the help of many people who are interested in having the magazine out there. So even the people who have worked on the design and on the publishing of the magazine, they are doing it with a sense that they're doing something important for the community. So they don't treat us like business. They treat us like, okay, let's get hands on this and try to make it the best possible for it to be out there, you know, as if they were part of the team. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. So very close knit,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Thank you.
Apologies for using the same word.
No, great. Thank you so much. Makes me feel very good.
How is the way that the magazine is usually print and it's a nice magazine, it's thick. It has
Yes.
weight to it.
Yes,
How
very
is the
good quality. The paper is excellent. It's amazing. It's like a book, really. I should tell everybody who's listening to us, acquiring one of these magazines is a unique collection. It is great quality. It would last you forever.
Yes.
And it's a collectible, you know. My opinion is that it's not just a magazine, you know, like one more magazine. You don't want to get rid of it ever. It's like a book, you could say.
And you won't find any books like this because again, none of these works were published before. So this is the first time this person. So if they're an upcoming author, maybe they found their start here, or maybe you see a work you haven't seen before from your author. So it's truly an important piece where you see such variety of different works all melded together in a very wonderfully, beautifully aesthetic book.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. I have to agree with you.
I've looked at it myself, very, very easy to look on the aesthetic of it, the way that it's printed, the way that it's formatted, it's very beautiful.
Thank you. Good.
So how is the way that because you told me earlier that that the magazine is usually print and it's a nice magazine, it's thick.
Yes.
It has weight to it.
Yes, very good quality. The paper is excellent.
Oh my goodness.
It's amazing. It's like a book, really. I should tell everybody who's listening to us, acquiring one of these magazines is a unique collection. It is great quality. It would last you forever.
Yes.
And it's a collectible, you know. My opinion is that it's not just a magazine, you know, like one more magazine. You don't want to get rid of it ever. It's like a book, you could say.
And you won't find any books like this because, again, none of these works were published before. So this is the first time this person. So if they're an up-and-coming author, maybe they found their start here, or maybe you see a work you haven't seen before from your author. So it's truly an important piece where you see such a variety of different works all melded together in a very wonderfully, beautifully aesthetic book.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. I have to agree with you.
I've looked at it myself. Very, very easy to look on the aesthetic of it, the way that it's printed, the way that it's formatted. It's very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you. It's inviting, right? It invites you to read because there are some publications that when I look at them, I just don't want to even open the publication, whatever it is, if a book, whatever, because of the way it is designed. It's not
Yes.
appealing to your eye, right? And this one is kind of relaxing, inviting. So you can tell, people who work in the design are also doing it with this sense that they know what we're dealing with. We're inviting people into this world of art, of culture, of literature. And it should feel like that. And it does feel like that. I'm glad that you sensed it.
Yes. How do you think it's different? Because I know you're going to be publishing the magazine out also to Amazon. So how would that look? How different will that look? Will it be electronic, or will just the selling of the book be available?
A very good question. I'm not sure because we haven't done it yet. The hope is that it'll be available worldwide. As you know, Amazon will also make it available on demand.
Yes.
They can send it wherever they want to purchase it from. So we're looking at the good angles. We're thinking of the best options. We think this can be something that helps them better known everywhere where they look for it. In terms of how it's going to look, the final product, I'm not sure. We have to see. And we're hoping for the best, of course.
Yes.
And I'm sure that we have the right people to get the right results. Just that is a new feeling, and a new expectation. But we're very happy about it and we are looking forward to it.
Awesome. I'm also very excited for you. Amazon makes things more accessible, and also if it's print, then Amazon, if it's Prime, free Prime 2D shipping, you can have it in your hands through the mail.
True. I've never thought of it.
Yes. I know I sometimes, if I'm don't want to visit the bookstore some of those days, if I'm feeling not well, I'll see a book online and I immediately am like, I want that. And then
Right. It's happened to me too, of course. You're right. But I never linked Amazon and Hybrido. So now we can do that too.
So why did you decide to publish on Amazon? What was the main factors?
Well, as we just said, the fact that it could be order on demand, that it can be ordered from wherever the reader or the person interested in seeing the magazine is, they can just order it and they have Amazon has the ability to send anywhere. I know it's, I don't want to sound like I don't know. I'm aware that in some countries you cannot just order from Amazon and get it.
Yes,
sometimes definitely. You have to pay a lot for shipping and handling, or it's not the same as Prime in the States, right?
Yes.
But for those places, like even just the States, right, where it's a possibility to order like that, it's excellent. So, well, one of the ideas was that it can be sent anywhere. It's available as for Amazon. Also printed on demand. The fact that, well, printing on demand means we don't have to keep the magazines with us, right? They are there at Amazon. And reaching, of course, more readers. That means reaching more readers as well. We are going to be known by more writers and artists who may want to submit more work, and then we're going to go crazy trying to read everything.
Yes.
But that's the purpose, so yeah, Amazon should help us doing that.
Will you still be doing the book fairs? You'll still be doing in-person events as well, correct?
Yes, definitely. Most definitely, God willing, there is no pandemic and there is nothing to prevent us from doing that. And then, of course, being in person, at least, for me, and I'm sure for everybody in the magazine,
Yes.
I can't speak for everyone. We love getting together. We love being in person with other writers, with other readers, with other artists. It's a beautiful event. It's a human, artistic, friendly event.
There's something about making direct human interaction with your audience that adds this layer of connectivity to your readers and also your authors and creators. So that's just wonderful to hear that you're going to have the best of both worlds, where the human connectivity and then the orders and being able to reach people all the way in California on the other side of the country that could possibly
Exactly.
buy. Yes. So
Thank you so much for your good wishes.
yes, I hope for the best, and I know it's gonna do pretty good. I don't want to
Thank
jinx
you.
it though.
I hope you show up to the next opportunity to see the magazine and the presentation.
Yes, I'll be there. Back to publishing challenges, I think you asked this question at the beginning. So did you receive any economic support to publish or produce your magazine? I know you said it was basically it was self-published where the creators decided to produce this magazine, their baby, for the world to see.
Yes. Well, as far as I know, it has continued to be like that.
Yes.
It doesn't mean we're not going to look forward to get grants or get support. Sometimes that we have had, though, I should say this, some advertisers who have helped us because they advertise mainly the idea of supporting the arts. We have had some sponsors in that sense, but people who have never interfered in any of the decisions of content, let's say, very independent.
Oh, that's amazing, because sometimes I know sponsors will ask, oh, put an ad here, but it's great that they gave you that freedom and just helped you out where you needed it. Are there any specific sponsors or grants? Not.
I don't want to mention like sponsors because or people who have advertised through us in order to sponsor us, for example, because I don't think it would be fair. I would not know very well throughout the years, who
Yes.
has been behind all this support. But definitely, it has had a lot to do with the personal interest of the same editors to take it out, to bring it out. So if there were no sponsors or if there was a number where there were no any type of external support, they would still publish it.
Yes. All right. So thank you for answering all of those questions. We're on the last section, which is memories, which is also doubling as our conclusion. So can you share any special memories that you have associated with publishing the magazine? It could be from any point in time.
I had known the magazine for many years, and I had been published. I had submitted poetry, and it had been published. So, and I knew some of them from different events, some of the editors, I'm sorry, from different events, but we didn't have a close relationship. So when I joined the magazine about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, what surprised me a lot was to see how, I don't know how to put this. I said it. This is so interesting because I wrote the editorial, but I don't find a number where I wrote the editorial. Um, and I explained this. There is such a heterogeneous group, in this magazine. Everybody has a different opinion, a different idea, a different sense of how they see the world sometimes. Everybody is open about it. So you see and you hear things that should be contradicting each other, maybe, or creating that is not the most comfortable one. Everybody's comfortable with everything.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter who has what opinion. Everybody's comfortable. And for me, that was like amazing. It was like, wow, what is this? What is going on? It was incredible, really. Being in one of the meetings where people have different opinions about what we are reading, about what to be published, and everybody has a different background and something opposite to say to what somebody else has said before, for example. There was no hint of argument.
Wow.
Just openness, you know, like, okay, all right, yeah, okay, you think that, oh yeah, fine, I think, but not even, you know, a back and forth. It was just everybody throwing their opinions. And I think that is amazing. Yeah, I think that's my most surprising memory.
Wow, that's amazing that people from different like opinions and point of views can just come together. Just the respect and the amount of I respect your opinion and to be there, basically coexist and work together while still being friends, like with the magazine. Like it's just amazing to see like great minds at work with each other, even though they're opposing, you're still able to work with each other. So I just think that's amazing. And thank you for sharing that very special memory with me. That's very amazing. And that's very representative of this magazine as well.
Thank you.
Because earlier you said that you don't choose works based on your own opinion. The works that are chosen is from an unbiased point of view. So that just goes to add that specialness to the magazine and the publication itself. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
All right. Are there any standout works from for any specific issues that we would like to highlight? A photograph, poetry?
Well, on number 16, we have, I invited myself, a friend who's a fantastic artist from Peru. He's a painter, and we have the cover and the back by him. I also interviewed him, and we have something inside the magazine. As you know, the quality of the paper is excellent, so you can see his work very well. I was going to say, does honor his work, but no, it's not better than what it really is. It just shows what it is. So counting with him, Maestro Jaime Vasquez, that was amazing. That was a great opportunity to show his work and to have him in the magazine as much as we could, you know. That's
Yes.
one of the highlights we have in terms of art. I wouldn't want to tell you about literature because there's so many authors. I don't think it would be fair. It doesn't mean we don't have other opportunities where we had artists, but in this case, it was kind of devoted to this artist because we had the opportunity to, and it was a great opportunity, you know.
It is hard to ask someone who loves literature what their favorite piece of work is because they're just gonna give off an entire list.
No, and I would look terrible if I choose one over the other.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I will make sure to look up the issue and just take a look at the artwork. All right, so we are towards the end. Is there anything else that you would like to add about the magazine or anything you would like to share with us?
Well, your questions have been excellent and they've covered every aspect as far as I can tell. I would just like to invite people to get to read the magazine. You know, they will not be disappointed. I know that the product is excellent, the result is excellent. So I would just like that, you know, and I think it's so important that people realize. I tell this to my readers too, you know, when I have readings, which is pretty often. It seems to me that many people nowadays think that they should be writing, you know. And please, it's so important to be readers. It is so important to be readers, even for the ones who are already writers. We know that very well. But even if people are not writers, not everybody has to be a writer. That's absurd, you know. Not everybody has to be an engineer. Not everybody has to be a teacher. Not everybody has to be a cook. You know, we all have different abilities, right? And but being a reader is something that enriches your life, enriches, you know, multiplies how you enjoy life at any stage in your life. When you're a kid, when you're a teenager, when you're an adult, when you're an older person, doesn't make a difference. It will always enrich you. And we, the writers, need you guys. We need real readers. We need them to come close to us and to enjoy what we do. Hopefully, we enjoy what we do. So I do invite people to read Hybrido. It's a good collection. You can think of it as an anthology of art and literature. And that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Linda, for sharing everything with us. Hopefully, this podcast brings even more attention to the magazine. And thank you so much. This has been very helpful. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule. And thank you for everything you do. You are an inspiration to all writers and readers out there. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure, and I admire your work. So please keep on doing it.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks too. Bye-bye.